Welcome back to the Eternal Wrestling Podcast. And I'm your host, Jacob, and this is our fantasy booking series, Reckoning, where we take stars from the past and current wrestlers and create new storylines, new rivalries, and keep that going. And we have pay-per-views every month. So we're building to a Rite of Passage, and this is our go-home show. But before we dive into all the crazy events that's going to happen this week, we're going to take a look at what happened last week. And in case you forgot or you had a busy schedule. So last week, Hollywood Hogan with the NWO, Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Well, Hogan, he called out Kevin Owens to the ring, and of course this was a trap set by the heels, and they beat down Kevin Owens and spray-painted NWO across his back in typical Hollywood Hogan fashion. Johnny Gargano of DIY, he was MIA, and Tommaso Ciampa couldn't get a hold of him for some reason. So Ciampa decided to tag with Darby Allin, and they won their tag match against the Acclaimed. And Ciampa even went on to say that, Darby made a great tag team partner. We had Damian Priest calling out Seth Rollins since Seth abandoned him in a tag team match that they had the week prior, so 2 weeks ago now. And that left Damian Priest to take the fall here, unfortunately for Damian. But he's going to get his title shot at the Vanguard title, our mid-card title in this series, at the Rite of Passage pay-per-view on May 2nd. That's a Saturday. And RVD decided to interfere in the opening contest of the night where Aleister Black was taking on Penta. RVD slid in there, match became a DQ. He attacked both men, and he called out The Undertaker. And we are still waiting to see what Undertaker has to say to this. We had two big men involved in a parking lot brawl, Big Van Vader and Bam Bigelow. And all this chaos and destruction caused Adam Pearce, our general manager of the brand, to book them in a match for this week. Also, Bray Wyatt, he's been trying to help out the Sandman here and there. He's kind of had a strange kind of friendship he's trying to build, but Sandman lost to Kane and just violently rejected Bray's help and called him an idiot. Also, Drew McIntyre is promised to take on Randy Orton at the pay-per-view after Randy Orton attacked Drew McIntyre's wife, hitting her with an RKO as Drew and his wife were entering the arena 2 weeks ago. Now, get ready for reckoning. So, the pyro goes off in the arena. The crowd's going wild. This is our go-home show, our last show before the pay-per-view. So, the electricity is in the arena. Adrenaline is high. What are we going to see tonight? So for segment 1, we see a shot of the parking lot, and we hear a revving of a Harley motorcycle as Hollywood Hogan comes into the shot. He's got his cut-off shirt, NWO. He's wearing the World Heavyweight Championship. He parks his Harley, and then out of nowhere, the camera pans around to see Kevin Owens. He's standing on top of a black SUV. He jumps off, hits a big swanton bomb onto Hogan, knocking Hogan down. They kind of brawl a little bit back and forth, and eventually Kevin Owens, he hits a stunner onto Hogan, and then he grabs Hogan by the head and smacks his head off his motorcycle, and he stands over Hogan saying that, "You're just a legend, Hulk, and legends live in the past. I live for the chaos." And then on to segment 2, our opening contest of the evening, we have the Vanguard champion, Seth freaking Rollins, taking on one half of the Acclaimed, Anthony Bowens. This match is high speed here. Bowens, he's using his athleticism, but Rollins, he's the visionary, he's the architect, and Seth, he counters and the arrival attempt into a pedigree, boom, hits that, then follows up with a big stomp, hooks a leg, 1, 2, 3, getting a decisive victory here. But in the aftermath, after this match, out comes Damian Priest, and he's holding that contract, and he's just signifying that Seth Rollins' time is coming at the pay-per-view, and there will be no mercy for Seth Rollins. And this wipes the smile off of Seth's face after he won his match. On to segment 3 here. We have a tag team match. We have the Sandman and Bray Wyatt taking on Darby Allin and Eddie Kingston. So Darby and Eddie, they make their separate entrances. Out comes Bray Wyatt. This is Firefly Funhouse Bray. He's got that red sweater, he's smiling and he's waving along and high-fiving the crowd. He's happy as can be. And before Sandman comes out, we get a little video package, and it's Sandman. He's kind of storming into Adam Pearce's office like, "What the hell? Why am I put into a tag team match, and who's my partner? What's going on here?" And Adam Pearce is like, "Well, you have a mystery partner tonight, and your mystery partner actually requested this match with you." Boom. Of course, it's Bray Wyatt, because he's kind of been trying to build some friendship with the Sandman. Sandman, he's pissed at the news, and he flicks his cigarette at Adam Pearce and he storms off. We then cut back to the ring, and out comes the Sandman through the crowd, drinking a beer, smashing it over his head, some blood trickling down. He's got his kendo stick. His Metallica theme song is playing, and before long, the match is underway. Ding, ding, ding. So Kingston and Sandman, they're trading chops, and they're kind of echoing throughout the arena. But kind of back and forth here. But eventually, what happens is, Bray gets in. He's trying to go for Sister Abigail on Darby, but Darby's able to slip out. He gets a code red, and Bray eventually tags in Sandman, who is, for some reason, okay with working with Bray in this scenario. Maybe he just wants to get a win and thinking that could just appease Bray Wyatt, maybe, and get him out of his way. Kingston and Sandman, they're trading blows back and forth, and once Bray is tagged in, he's going against Darby, and there's just a lot of back and forth, and then eventually Bray is able to get Darby into the Sister Abigail. Darby slips out, hits a code red. They're both trying to crawl to their respective corners to get that hot tag. Eddie Kingston gets tagged in, Sandman gets tagged in, and Sandman comes running at Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston gets that spinning back fist, taking down Sandman, getting the cover. 1, 2, 3. The victors, Darby and Eddie, they're cheering. This is just a continuation of Eddie Kingston's winning streak after he has lost so many times since the beginning of this series. So, Bray, he's trying to help up Sandman, tough loss, trying to be friendly to him, kind of, shake him off, shake his hand and just be like, sorry about that. But Sandman, he grabs his beer can from the corner. He takes a drink. He just kind of mean mugging a little bit, spits it right in the face of Bray Wyatt. Then a kick to the groin, grabs his kendo stick and just smashes it repeatedly over the back of Bray Wyatt. And he's yelling at Bray, I don't play with puppets, and I don't follow buzzards. And off he leaves. On to segment 4. This is a scene in Adam Pearce's office. The tension is very suffocating. The Hardys, Matt and Jeff, are on one side of the room, and then the Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Adam Copeland are on the other. Adam Pearce announces that at the pay-per-view Rite of Passage, there will be a 3-way triple threat tag team match. The Hardys, Macho Man, and Adam Copeland, and the NWO, Strowman and Bronson Reed. The winner of this match will become the number 1 contenders for the tag team titles. Well, this is good news for everybody involved. The tensions have been boiling over the last couple of weeks as the Hardys have been trying to help Macho and Copeland and vice versa, but as they do try to help out, they're costing each other matches against the NWO. So the NWO is appearing very strong, and that these other opponents can't get on the same page to take out this faction that is causing chaos for everybody. And so while this news is good, Hardys are pissed at Macho and Copeland, and they almost get into a big brawl. Security runs into the general manager's office. Adam Pearce is trying to calm everybody down, but they're able to get separated, and we go to a commercial break. On to segment 5. So backstage, Ciampa, he's looking around. He's trying to eventually find his partner. Boom, there he is. Johnny Gargano, he's kind of off in a hallway in the corner area, just minding his own. So he comes up to him and he's trying to talk to Johnny, and Johnny refers to Ciampa's comment about Darby being a great tag team partner. And he refers to this and calling it the ultimate insult here. And in the back, the Acclaimed, Caster and Bowens, they're seen in the shadows kind of snickering, recording on their phone, everything that's going down. And Johnny, he just kind of shoulder checks Ciampa and goes his own way. He's looking like he has not a care in the world about anything Tommaso has to say. On to segment 6. So we have a vignette, very grainy, very creepy, darkness, kind of smoke. We see Aleister Black and Brody King, and they're kind of standing around like a fire. And the camera pans down into the fire, and we see Rey Mysterio's mask, and a mask that resembles Penta's mask, and they're burning. And then the Undertaker, he steps between them, and this isn't the brimmed hat Undertaker. This is like his Ministry of Darkness Undertaker. He's got that leather robe with all like the studs and stuff going on. And he decides to address RVD. And he says, Rob, you stepped into the darkness trying to reveal the light. But at the pay-per-view, the darkness will swallow you whole. And then he kind of grimaces and he rolls his eyes back. We have a commercial break, and then on to segment 7. We get Max Caster against Johnny Gargano. So this isn't Johnny wrestling. This is a very violent version of Johnny Gargano. He overheard the Acclaimed laughing in the background, and he's taking all of his anger out on Max Caster here. And eventually, he's just beating him down. Caster cannot get any offense in. He locks him into the Gargano escape submission maneuver. And, he's tapping out. He's tapping out, Caster is. But even afterwards, he is refusing to let Caster go. Anthony Bowens and the ref eventually have to pry him off. And then Johnny marches to the back. He is pissed. He's ticked off. He's not in the mood. He doesn't even really look like he wants to be here tonight on the Reckoning brand. And while all this is going on, Ciampa is watching in the monitor backstage, and he's just shaking his head, his arms crossed, knowing that something is not right with his now looking like former partner. On to segment 8, we get a street fight here. Triple H against Cactus Jack. Triple H, he's got some wins, but when it comes to getting closer to the World Heavyweight Championship, he has not had good luck. He lost to Drew McIntyre in our tournament to crown our first ever World Heavyweight Champion. And in the triple threat against Vader and Kevin Owens, Bam Bigelow got involved and caused some distraction that allowed Kevin Owens to get the win over Triple H. And hence why Kevin Owens is facing Hogan at the pay-per-view. So this match is just blood, chaos, chairs, trash cans, barbed wire 2x4, and just lots of back and forth. Each man is, getting the upper hand back and forth throughout this match. Eventually, Cactus, he's going to pile drive Triple H onto the table on the outside. He's looking just to put him away here. But as he's, trying to, pick up Triple H drops down to his knees, hits a low blow onto Cactus Jack, and then Triple H kicks him in the gut, gets him in the pedigree, jumps over, smashes him through the table. He then has to pick him up and roll him in the ring, but he's not done here yet. With all the carnage that has been left throughout the match, he slides a chair to the middle of the ring, picks up Cactus again, boom, colliding another pedigree. Both men are bloody, beaten down. He covers Cactus. 1, 2, 3. Triple H wins here. He is beaten, bloody, and after the match, he is limping a bit as he goes to the back. On to segment 9. This is our main event of the evening. We see Bam Bigelow is taking on Vader in a grudge match here. It's time. It's Vader time. And Vader, the Mastodon, he comes out, smoke coming up from the entranceway. He makes his way down to the ring, and then Bam Bigelow makes his way down. We have a commercial break, and then we are on to the action. Both men are on opposite sides of the ring. Ding, ding, ding. And chaos ensues. Two big, beefy men smashing meat as over 700 pounds of humanity, pure aggression. This really isn't a wrestling match. It's more of a earthquake, tectonic plates colliding. This is no technical masterclass. This is just a brawl. Both men eventually end up on the outside, and Vader and Bam, they're fighting back and forth over the barricade, through the crowd, throwing trash cans at each other, throwing chairs at each other. And, well, Pearce has told the ref that there needs to be a definitive winner here. So the ref is giving some leeway here to weapon usage, and eventually Bam, he's able to get the upper hand a little bit. And he gives a big clothesline to Vader on the concrete outside, in between all the fans and the crowd. And then he's eventually beating back Vader and throws him back over the barricade. And the two men eventually end up back into the ring. So Bam, he's going up. He's going to try to do a big moonsault on top of Vader. But Vader, he gets up. He hits that top rope, crotching Bam. The ropes are shaking. They're shaking back and forth wildly, rapidly. And then Vader, he's climbing up to meet Bam on the top. You hear creaking. You hear the ring posts. And something just doesn't seem right here. Vader, he gets his arms around Bam, and the crowd is on their feet. They're screaming. They're cheering. Vader hits a big superplex. Boom! Onto the canvas. Everything goes to hell here. The ring post snaps. The ropes go limp. The canvas collapses. Both men, they bounce onto the mat and then go flying to the outside in this carnage. The ref, as he was close to the impact, he's knocked out outside. He's unconscious from this insanity. Because when the ropes went down, they kind of went flying a little bit, smacking him. We got EMTs running out. We got security, production people running out, trying to see what's going on. This is chaos. This is insanity. And this is the end of Reckoning as we go into the May 2nd pay-per-view, Rite of Passage. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm enjoying creating these stories for you guys. And I'm going to run down our match card for the free pay-per-view, Rite of Passage, on May 2nd. So we got the Vanguard Championship on the line. Seth Rollins, Damian Priest. We got the tag team titles on the line. Penta and Rey Mysterio defending against the Kings of the Black Throne. Aleister Black and Brody King. We got a World Heavyweight Championship match. Hollywood Hogan taking on the #1 contender, Kevin Owens. We have Undertaker taking on RVD, as RVD has been very cocky and just really sticking his nose where it doesn't belong. And we got a triple threat tag team match for the #1 spot for the tag team championships. #1 contender match, NWO, Bronson Reed, Braun Strowman taking on the Hardys, taking on Macho Man and Adam Copeland. So I hope you guys tune in on May 2nd. It's a Saturday. Everything is free. Everything is free. I'm not charging anyone for any of this. I do not have a Patreon. I just want you guys to listen and enjoy. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a great morning, night, whenever you listen to this. And I will catch you May 2nd, Saturday, Rite of Passage. Peace.